Ecuador, and specifically the Galapagos, have been on our bucket list for a long time. We finally make it in 2016. Ecuador is about as diverse a country as you can get. In the cities, we'll see the cultural and ethnic diversity. Then from the barren islands of Galapagos to the lush Amazon rainforest, we'll experience the diversity of plant and animal life. But first we need to locate where we are. From Seattle, we fly to Dallas-Fort Worth, and then on to Quito, the capital of Ecuador. It's after midnight when we finally arrive at the hotel in downtown Quito. So the adventure begins. We have one day to explore this city of over 2 million people and a history that includes the Incas, Spanish priests and conquistadors, and revolutionaries. Ecuador is bordered by Colombia and Peru and the Pacific Ocean. The country is divided by the Andes into a coastal plain and the Amazon rainforest. Quito's location in the northern highlands makes it the highest capital in the world at over 9,000 feet, and it's the only capital city to be menaced by an active volcano. We wake up to a beautiful day with a hint of Quito climbing up the hill behind the park across from the hotel. Old Town Quito was the first UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site declared in 1978. It's one of the largest and best preserved historic urban centers in the Americas. That's what we'll be focused on. Our first stop is the Basilica of the National Vow. The vow refers to a commitment by the country to the Sacred Heart devotion of the Catholic Church. The Basilica is the largest neo-Gothic basilica in the Americas. A unique feature of the church are the gargoyles in the form of the animals of Ecuador. Some are badly in need of repair, but you can still make out this puma, and monkeys, and anteaters, crocodiles, a very imaginative marine iguana. But the dolphins need a little repair work. We drive through Old Town on the way to El Panacea. History parades by in the form of 16th century churches, colonial era buildings, and the center of it all, Independence Square. We'll be back after we get a little perspective. El Panacea means a little piece of bread, or in this case, a 600-foot hill between the old city and southern Quito. From here you can see the southern suburbs, mostly industrial and working class areas, climbing up the hillsides. It's easy to see where the old city ends and the high-rise buildings of the financial district and the upper-class residential areas take over. On top of El Panacea is a 135-foot tall statue of the Virgin Mary. It was inspired by a famous 18th century statue, the Madonna of Quito. Some unusual features, such as the wings and the halo of stars, are iconography from the Book of Revelations. Now that we have the lay of the land, it's back to Independence Square. As usual, the colony's major institutions were established on the square. The Cathedral of Quito was consecrated in 1572. The presidential palace was originally built in 1627 as a residence for the king's representative to the colony. The Hotel Plaza Grande was built in 1930 on the site of a colonial mansion. At 5 stories high, it's the first building in Quito to exceed 2 stories. The Archbishop's Palace was built in 1700. Today, it's the home of galleries, restaurants, and craft shops. The cathedral was built on the site of an Inca temple. Some of the Inca masonry can still be seen in the cathedral's foundation. The central plaza became Independence Square in 1906 with the installation of the bronze statue commemorating the heroes of August 10, 1809. It was the date that Quito's leading citizens called for independence from Spain, the first Latin Americans to do so. We wander away from the square. There seem to be churches on every corner, each trying to be more magnificent than their neighbor. The streets are lined with colonial-era buildings. We happen into the Plaza De San Francisco, in front of the church and monastery of San Francisco. Confirmation services have just completed. We ask if we can take pictures inside the church, usually not allowed, but everybody else is doing it. The church construction began in 1534 and was completed in 1604. The Baroque and Moorish elements of the interior are in stark contrast to the austere exterior. The church houses over 3,500 works of colonial art. It's too bad we don't have more time to explore this city of churches. We can only guess at the treasures that might hold. We drive back by the Basilica of the National Vow, where we started the day. And we're back at our hotel. This morning, we're headed north to Otavalo, a town famous for its market. Our first stop is the Casato Sundial. Another superlative for Quito is that it is the closest world capital to the equator. Here we're getting an explanation of how the prehistoric cultures of the area used astronomical knowledge. The pebble mosaic shows the path of the sun on equinoxes and solstices. From the road, we see huge greenhouses and learn that Ecuador is the world's largest rose exporter, and cut flowers are Ecuador's fourth largest export product. We drive through the little town of Cayambe for a taste of local life. There's the cockfighting venue and the bullfighting arena. A shaman serves the needs of the local indigenous population. We stop for some photographs at the cemetery. It's Sunday, the day the locals decorate the graves. And since cut flowers are an industry here, the flowers are abundant. The next stop is to enjoy a local specialty, bizcochos. The place is busy with large family groups. The attraction is a flaky cookie served with dulce de leche, caramel sauce, and stick cheese washed down with hot chocolate. The countryside is green and mountainous. Next stop is Largo San Pablo, and across the lake, the Imbaburo volcano. And it's time for lunch at the Puerto Lago resort. Finally, we are in Otavalo. The city hall faces Town Square, where the municipal band is giving a concert. The people seem to be enjoying their Sunday afternoon. But we're here to see the market. Otavalo's big market day is Saturday, so today's a bit slow. But the lack of crowds makes it easier to take pictures. And there are a lot of pictures here. There are familiar and strange fruits, but they're all fresh and abundant. There are all kinds of beans. We follow the smell of meat roasting. Here's the source. Too bad we just had a big lunch. It all looks really good. And it smells great. Then past the spice market, and then into the clothing market. Just couldn't pass this one up. When we saw these women, we knew that we were getting close to the craft market. If you're looking for souvenirs, this is the place. From finger puppets to crazy hats and team sweaters. Maybe carved gourds are more your thing. There are textiles of all colors and purposes, but we only have so much space in our luggage. So we pull ourselves away and head for Pagucci Waterfall. But before we get there, we have to navigate the vendors selling souvenirs and snacks. The cuy, that's guinea pig to us, needs a little more time on the spit. Our guide tells us about Ahumi, the central figure in the sun festival, Inti Raymi, held here at the winter solstice. Ahuma represents the vital energy found in nature. This place is very special to the local people, and it shows by the way it's maintained. There are several waterfalls, but this is the main one. We enjoy nature for a while, then it's time to leave. The cuy is done to a turn, but we pass on it. We have a long ride back to Quito.